Me glad to see you come back, boy. But Lord, you let me down. Me shame you so till all me proudness drop a grung. You mean you go to America and spend 6 whole months there and come back not a piece better than when you did go, eh? Louise Bennett Coverley was born on September 7, 1919. She was a poet and social activist, and it is through her poems that many of us learn to accept and celebrate our society and language. Her social flair and pronunciation of our cultural framework reflected the way we think, feel, and live. Today we commemorate her life and remember her accomplishments. Patois a Fiwi dialect. So, make we open the pages of Fio Jamaica Magazine. You already know my name, Audrey Williams. Stick around, we have a whole lot to unravel. Not gonna away now. Me soon come back.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Friday, September 8, 2023. The Financial Investigations Division, FID, is clarifying that its investigation of the SSL fraud allegations is not being funded by tax revenue. In a press statement from the Ministry of Finance yesterday, the FID said it was using the proceeds of assets confiscated under Jamaica's Proceeds of Crime legislation, essentially funds arising from the confiscation of ill-gotten gains. The FID adds that these ill-gotten gains are held in an interest-bearing account under its control as Jamaica's Asset Recovery Agency. Speaking specifically to $300 million reported as part of the agency's budgetary documents, the FID says the amount is not just to fund extraordinary expenses incurred in the SSL fraud investigation. It also includes money to expand the building occupied by the FID as the entity doubles in size from an establishment of 90-plus staff positions to a staff complement of over 193 positions. This is part of the country's efforts to improve its investigative and confiscatory capacity with respect to financial crimes. As it regards the Stocks and Securities Limited SSL investigation, the FID says due to the complexity of the matter, specialized resources are having to be deployed to ensure a successful investigation. The Financial Investigation Division insists that it is vitally important for Jamaica that the perpetrators, conspirators, and co-conspirators in the alleged fraudulent schemes at SSL are brought before the Jamaican courts. Coconut farmers and others looking to enter the industry can now obtain free seedlings and fertilizers, as well as weed control grants. This is being given under the Coconut Industry Board CIB's Rehabilitation Planting Program. Chief Technical Director in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Orville Palmer, made the announcement as he praised the board for being the main force behind the growth of Jamaica's coconut industry.
Through research and development, the Coconut Industry Board was able to develop varieties and hybrids which are tolerant to some of the most devastating diseases that the industry has faced. As a result of that, we are seeing a 70% reduction in the spread of this deadly virus. The Coconut Industry Board has been providing our farmers with other forms of support, such as incentives.
Mr. Palmer was speaking at a recent function to celebrate World Coconut Day. He urged stakeholders to make use of the various incentives offered by the Coconut Industry Board to promote the sector's continued growth. Students at Exchange All-Age School in St. Anne can expect a better teaching and learning environment soon. Ground was recently broken to begin the construction of 6 new classrooms at the institution. The project will also involve the renovation of existing restrooms, corridors and staircases, the upkeep of culinary facilities, and the installation of a chairlift unit for students with disabilities.
In addition to the construction activities on the building, there will be the following external works: construction of surface drains, drainage, construction of sewage mains, installation of incoming technical distribution lines, installation of LPG lines, meaning gas lines, and enclosure to supply the kitchen, additional outdoor seating.
The work is being carried out as part of the Ministry of Education's primary and secondary infrastructure program. The minister says the National Education Trust, NET, has a budget of more than $1 billion to complete infrastructure work in schools this year. Ownership documents and the keys to a new house have been handed over to fire victim Sunshine Girls defender Latanya Wilson by Sports Minister Olivia Grange. Wilson and her family were among several people whose homes were destroyed by an early morning blaze on Thursday, August 25, at premises on Rum Lane in downtown Kingston. While presenting the ownership document for a new home yesterday, Minister Grange said Latanya was fully deserving of the support.
She stand out as a player for the Adelaide Thunderbirds in the Australian Sun Corps. Latanya helped the Thunderbirds to the 2023 championships in Australia and the Sunshine Girls to the bronze medal in the Netball World Cup in South Africa last month.
Through a partnership with the private company Wiccan, the National Housing Trust NHT has placed the 22-year-old and her family on a special lease agreement. Minister Grange says Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who has oversight responsibility for the NHT, considered the initiative very important and insisted on tangible support for the defender and her family. And finally, the Ministry of Sport will be making more than $6 million in direct payments to members of the national team that competed in the recent Netball World Cup in South Africa. Minister Olivia Grange made the announcement on Tuesday during a courtesy call with members of the team that claimed the bronze medal at the recent World Cup.
Each member of the Sunshine Girls team to South Africa, you will be receiving, it's going straight to your account, $300,000 each. And that's a token of our appreciation.
The minister also announced that members of the Sunshine Girls coaching staff would receive $200,000 each, while those on the management team would get $100,000. These payments are in addition to $20 million provided to Netball Jamaica by the ministry to support Jamaica's participation in the Netball World Cup.
I am very passionate about making sure that things are always right with you. I may not be able to make it perfect, but I do what I can. If you ask me, I will say to you, consider it done.
And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Miss Lou's contribution to Jamaican cultural life was such that she was honored with many distinguished accolades in the field of arts and culture. Our next feature will shine more light on her story.
This long time, girl, we never see you.
You're just walking up and down like my auntie Rachel said, keep by your mouth, the girl tree. You make your fool so lies, spread out yourself.
I've learned that people will forget what you have said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Miss Lou made us feel happy, proud to be who we are.
When you're talking to me, talking Jamaican, I mean for say you're blind.
A wheel ride through the gate, you see, man, and all the call them call, I wouldn't look. I don't business in them cascas, for my life is open book. Oh.
On October 20, 2016, 10 years after her death in 2006, Jamaica's queen of social commentary peppered with laughter is again allowing us an unfettered view into her life. Documents she donated to the National Library of Jamaica upon her migration to Toronto, Canada in the latter years of her life have been archived and officially launched for public consumption.
Memories are essential to our humanity. And as human beings, we have an innate need to remember the past.
We must record our stories, and we must preserve and protect our heritage and our history.
With the archives now at the National Library, it will facilitate keeping the memories of Miss Lou alive, and that we do not forget what she did and how she did it.
Louise Bennett was a profoundly influential figure in the development of Jamaican self-confidence.
She taught us to value the creation of our people, to accept our ways of expression, to celebrate our unique Jamaican swag and spirit, and to be confident in who we are. Therefore, Miss Lou will not and cannot be confined to our glorious past. She is still very relevant today.
Thank you.
Through this new resource, Miss Lou Archives, we get a glimpse into the life of this Jamaican cultural icon as we have never ever seen before. The Miss Lou Archives presents the personal collection of unpublished material, including photographs, recordings, diaries, letters, and drafts in her own handwriting, and other artifacts. It adds to the vast trove of works by Jamaicans and about Jamaica, which is housed here at the National Library of Jamaica.
As of today, persons researching the evolution of Jamaican literature, Jamaican language, Jamaican theatre, folklore, and the life of the Honorable Louise Bennett Coverley herself will not have done thorough enough research unless they consult these archives.
So much was donated that the newly unveiled catalogue represents only about 80% of what is available. Much more is still to be catalogued from the personal papers of Miss Lou's husband, Eric Coverley, who was himself a theatre legend.
Today, not only are we celebrating Miss Lou, but we are celebrating Eric Coverley. We have to recognize the part that he has played. He also was an extremely creative individual.
The Miss Lou and Eric Coverley Archives is located in the Special Collections Department of the National Library. The collection is organized into 10 main series, which are further divided into other sub-series.
You will be able to access it online. However, to view the documents, you will need to come to the National Library of Jamaica. Clients can consult the archive, you can make notes, but when you must acknowledge where you got the information from. In order for you to get copies, to use in a publication or any other form of reproduction, you must contact Miss Lou's estate.
Miss Lou was selfless and operated in the premise that she would not hide her talent under a bushel, but to share it not only with her fellow Jamaicans, but persons all over the world.
She was Jamaica. We didn't think she would be going anywhere. As a matter of fact, we thought she would be with you forever. And in the form of her papers, she is with us forever.
I wish not for preeminence nor grand prize in a lottery, but power to express my whims and thoughts in poetry.
I said, accept on madness. Accept on madness. Madness is the successor of hard work. Hard work is hard work. Therefore, if it's the madness is the successor of hard work, who are the maddest person here?
You're just walking up and down like my auntie Roach say, keep by your mouth, the girl tree. You make your fool so lies, pride out yourself.
Long time, girl, me never see you. Come let me hold you hand. It is a long time, girl, me never see you. Come let me hold you hand. Feel head jump, come sit down,
Parenting needs to be strengthened. Parenting. Parents must take charge. We cannot have people becoming parents and you are weak. You cannot allow a gang leader to take your child. I only have these children when they come to me, when the parents send them to me. So, these are your children. How dare you give them over to gang members? You must, and the whole family, must be in charge of the children. Children are children, and they need to be nurtured. We must take control until we hand over to them. That is what needs to be done.
Our next feature highlights ways the government is working to strengthen our coastal borders.
Before, in the last 30 years, we really never invested in our domain control. You know, when you say Jamaica, Jamaica is a domain, an area that is sovereign to it. How do you control that? We have people illegally fishing in our waters, illegally trafficking guns and drugs and contraband and people in our waters, using Jamaica as a transshipment point, getting the gangs to secure the illegal transshipment, to corrupt the authorities so that they can pass through our ports. That has been going on for decades. Who has ever sought to say, let us stop it? We had one major attempt at that when we had Kingfish. We have had several partnerships with the United States and other countries to interdict vessels coming in. We had ship rider agreement. But Jamaica never really had the capacity unless it came from partnering with others. We have invested now in our domain control. Several offshore patrol vessels have been bought, and you're seeing the results. Protecting our natural assets, interdicting cocaine and other contraband coming into our space. We collaborate with intelligence, but our asset in the water. And that will take time to harden the domain so that people don't see Jamaica as a space where they can transship and then fund guns. Once that capacity is built, then the general level of criminality, of guns coming in, will be reduced.
Rotate time and time for slow down. Cut the speed, let it up and grow. The road cold and up, play. Use the light in a night or day. Speed kills when you're in a hurry. Hit the child and then you cry sorry. But if you cut the speed, nobody life would bleed. Walk, stop, beg and plead. Just cut the speed. Taxi, bus driver, bike man, whole ladder, Mark X and Honda. Where are FIFA? Where are race? So stop. The sign it said, children crossing the speed on there. When you see a pedestrian crossing, just stop. Don't drive past them. Rotate the time and time for slow down. Cut the speed or you don't come grow.
Motorists, please look out for us when we're crossing the road.
Let us pay attention to a school that is incorporating giving as a part of the learning experience.
We all progress in small steps. So, before passing judgment on a man, Try to walk a mile in his shoes to experience the world from his perspective. Considering the foregoing, the following account highlights an institution using its resources and influence to assist students who have entered its doors. A support system anyone will be grateful for.
First of all, I'd like to say that part of our core values at Christian High School is giving. I'd like to emphasize that. At Christian High School, we have a very robust program through our guidance and counseling department who constantly do needs assessment of our students to ensure that all our students are benefiting from this program. And so we have a wide range of things that we do, from ensuring that students are taken care of where bus fares are concerned, for lunches, uniforms, books, stationaries. We even go as far as assisting students with their CSEC examination payments.
Since my tenure here as guidance counselor over 11 years, we have started what is called our welfare program in the guidance and counseling department. The numbers cannot be counted, to be honest, but we have had a lot of students who have benefited. If I was to count, we would be counting over 500 and going.
From those numbers, here are the few beneficiaries.
They helped me with lunch.
I benefited from the welfare program by receiving financial help and help with purchasing school clothes, shoes, and so on.
I was benefited with financially for getting uniforms and bus fare and to come to school.
Our program also assists with school shoes. We have received donations from past students overseas from time to time. So we get shoes, backpacks, stationery supplies, and those things. So yes, we have assisted students. Sometimes we might see a student coming to school in slippers because they are in need of our shoes, and we have reached out to them. If we don't have it readily on hand in the office, then we collect donations, or from our welfare drive or funds, we can purchase shoes for those children. Over the years, by doing our needs assessment, we realized that children are from varied backgrounds. They're from homes where parents are unemployed, and so the needs are great. So we, as a school, we have decided to launch this welfare program so that we can assist these students to stay in school, because education is very important and children cannot learn if they're hungry, if they're in need. So this is one way of reaching out to them.
My role in the welfare program is to ensure or assist in ensuring that students who need assistance are taken care of in the best way we can.
We are not just there for them as teachers, but we are their mothers, we are their fathers, and we try our best to show them that kind of support. Every opportunity we get through our assembly period, we try to ensure that we have speakers, we have motivational speakers who comes in and demonstrate this kind of love to the students. And we do our part as caregivers, as teachers, as principals.
I feel extremely grateful because this helps all students, everyone that's in need, and some that just need a little bit of assistance. It helps them to be less worried about how they get through their school life.
Hey boy, move out of my way, man. May I get my lunch before you, Both there at the front of the line.
Yes, there are times when other students will try to get you out of your peaceful state. They will say something that will trigger you. They will cut in front of the line at lunch or wherever you are, and that will get you upset. But remember, You have control over your reaction to what happens to you. You have no control over what other people will do. Peace Day in schools must act as a conduit to inspire young people to become the driving force behind the vision for a united and sustainable Jamaica. Teaching our children about peace isn't just talking about war and conflict. Peace is about kindness, fairness, inner peace, respect for the environment, and so much more. Thoughts, words, gestures of unanimity create a mentality and a culture of peace and a respectful, honest, and cordial atmosphere. No place more that we'd like to see peace than in our schools.
Many persons with serious illnesses, such as HIV, face two challenges. On the one hand, they battle with the disease's symptoms. On the other hand, individuals are confronted with stereotypes and prejudices resulting from illness misconceptions. As a result, the National Family Planning Board, NFPB, has launched the Champions for Change campaign. It's a public education tool to raise awareness and support the reduction of stigma and prejudice towards people living with and impacted by HIV.
Champions for Change is about being your brother's keeper. It's where you can stand up and say, listen, enough is enough. I see you bullying someone. No, stop. Stop bullying this person. It's not fair. It's unreasonable. They have not done anything wrong. Especially when it comes to your HIV status, especially when it comes to your health status. And that's a challenge. We know about cancer. We just experienced COVID-19. Stigma and discrimination is real. The sad part about it is that when it really gets to you, it becomes self-stigmatizing.
To learn more about the Champion for Change campaign and other services offered by the NFPB, please visit their website at jnfpb.org. We've reached the end of our program. Get a recap of everything you saw here and more on our website, gis.gov.jm. I'm Audrey Williams. As Miss Lou would say, walk good and may good duppy walk with you.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.